So I'm going to answer. I had 4 different haters who had some weird, bizarre, illogical comments because they couldn't follow along or they found some contradiction that I said. And it's crazy that these guys who are losing in court come to my page looking for answers and they don't like the way I talk, or they don't like that I said one thing and then I say something a little different in another video. And they're trying to pinpoint something wrong with me. And they're trying to attack as if they're going to win some reward by attacking me and pointing it out. Why don't you guys who are hating and picking me apart, now I'm going to show why they're full of crap. Why don't you spend that energy going and picking your baby mama apart in court? Why don't you spend that energy fighting for your kids? Because this is, no matter how big, bad, and tough you look, this is the feminine drama queen nature of modern men. So there's multiple reasons that this happens. A guy loses in court. He knows that it's his right to have a time with his kid. And then you see somebody like me who won in court. And then I'm telling guys to grow some balls. And they're hurt and devastated. So they get mad at me because I tell them to grow some balls because they likely didn't fight the right way. I just did a video where I talk about how 90% of guys, when they get on board the right way from the beginning and fight hard from the beginning, they usually win or get something fair. So you don't do what worked for a winner, and then you come on a winner's page and you hate on a winner. You look like a fruity little gay boy hater. And a couple of these, I think they're like some of my main gay stalkers who are obsessed ever since I told them I'm not going to do a free appointment. So let's start with this guy named Jamar. So it's Jamar Joseph 89. He says in a video, I'm asking people, do you really want to fight or not? Because people get on the comments and all they do is comment and sit back and watch, and they're a bystander or they're sitting in the bleachers and just observing. So he says, you're not making a very good argument for male parent rights, while at the same time bringing up the exact reasons men look like idiots in court and lose. So, first of all, if this guy's losing in court, why is he even bothering watching my page if he's just on here criticizing? And let's say this illogical point, he wins. Again, what is he getting out of this? He must be, I think he's a guy who, he had a consult with me. Then he got on my page and was stalking me everywhere and talking about what's wrong with me because he bombed me with a bunch of emails with a bunch of information that would take me hours to read and thought I should just do it for free. Like one time people get access. It's kind of like, that's a great analogy. That movie Fatal Attraction with Glenn Close and Michael Douglas. He messed around and had adultery with a co-worker one time. And because she got access to him, he said, you know what? I can't do this. I'm married. Then she thought that she had full access to him, was stalking and following him everywhere. Because you got an appointment with me, you could just stalk and follow me everywhere and I owe you something. That's some really psychotic, emotional, feminine drama queen, histrionic drama where you're just going to, create a bunch of drama. That's probably why you're in the situation you are now. If you go do a fast and start eating right and get all the estrogen out of your body, maybe you won't react this way. But so he's sitting there saying, I'm talking about guys look like idiots in court. So he's saying you're not making a very good argument for male rights when at the same time you talk about idiots, how they lose. So I talk about men's rights, but you can't have rights and just sit on your tail. Martin Luther King talked about rights for all people, people of color. All non-white people have the same rights as white people. When white people were running things everywhere all the time, and there were Jim Crow laws in the South, and black people didn't get their 40 acres and a mule that they were promised, while Japanese Japanese citizens got interned in concentration camps. So they got reparations. There were Tuskegee victims got reparations. And so he was saying, we're coming for our check. People who were building farms in America, white settlers and immigrants got money to build farms and get their own acreage. government subsidies to build the country early on. So he had some great points. But he didn't automatically get stuff. He was out there in the streets doing something and meeting with people and doing stuff. What I'm talking about is when guys cry and whine and moan and don't fight, or you go to court and you don't make a good argument. And here I am with arguments and things that have worked for people over and over and over again. And people come on my page and watch and watch and watch and don't apply what I'm talking about. Don't do what I'm talking about. Don't get a consult. Don't get my packets. You know, it's not even about the selling points of my stuff, my consultations, but what are you actually doing when you go to court? So I will talk about stuff that guys do that's idiotic and doesn't make any sense. Like a guy might go in there and say, "Oh, I don't understand why we can't work it out and just co-parent." She's trying to get a restraining order against you. You turn around and say, "I want to work it out with her. I just wanted to reconcile. I want to be civil." That's a stupid argument when a mother's trying to get a restraining order. Guys do it a lot, all the time. They'll try and look like the peaceful one by saying, "I'm trying to be peaceful. I'm trying to work things out. I'm trying to co-parent." The mother is saying, "He's violent. He's crazy. I want a restraining order against him." And because she's lying, you think you're justified in arguing that way. You think it's okay to say, "I'm the peaceful guy." And she's sitting there saying, "I want him to get away. He's a stalker." And you know that she's lying. So you say, "Okay, she's lying," and you think you win points with that. This is a game of perception. The reason why I can call somebody an idiot because I figured this out on my own through common sense without getting a lawyer, having a law degree, or anything like that. If you go to court and somebody's trying to get a restraining order against you, if you even look like you're pursuing them or want to get back with them or want to be friends with them when they want nothing to do with you, that's a bad look. Anybody with common sense could or should be able to figure that out. But guys get in there and they act emotional. That's an idiotic argument. So I will tell people, don't be stupid. Don't do some stupid stuff like that. And then, I just talked to somebody the other day about that. He's saying, we could at least be friends. Let's just be friends. Let's get along. Let's just be cool. And I'm like, dude, she's saying that you're abusive. And he goes, "But I'm not." If she is in court saying you're abusive and she wants supervised visits for you and all that kind of stuff, and you say, "Well, okay, I don't want to be in a relationship. I just want to be friends. I want to co-parent. We need to co-parent." You sound like a pushy, psychotic stalker. This is a game of perception in court. So this guy is saying, because I point out idiotic things that men do to get themselves to lose in court, he says that I'm not making a very good argument for the male parental rights. So I don't even know what he means. So if you have a coach on a football team and you're doing stuff wrong, but you're giving forth a good effort, but the running back is going through the wrong hole, or he's running a sweep when he's supposed to do a dive, and he's running really hard and he's exerting a lot of effort, and the coach chews him out and says, "What the hell are you doing? Why are you going that way?" If the kid goes, "Coach, I'm trying really hard," he's doing the wrong thing no matter how hard he's trying. So this idiot says, I should never be critical of men. I should just sit here and say men's rights, and be just like the fathers' rights movement. Or just, there's another, I should just be, this group that's just whining and crying about the system. There's a guy I just saw on Instagram. He's got some pretty cool posts. I think it's called Good Dad 50/50, but all he has is posts from other people's pages, and he's getting a bunch of followers posting other people's content or other videos. And then in one place he says, "I'm just a dad encouraging dads to fight for their kids," but he has no answers on how to fight. All it is whining and crying and complaining about the system. That's the kind of stuff I'm sick of. This guy seems to want me to do that. So the video was, "Do you really want to fight or not?" And this guy's saying, "You're not making a good argument for father's rights." First of all, he doesn't even know what the hell my goal or intent is when he's saying you're not making a good argument for father's rights. I'm not up here making an argument for father's rights. I'm helping guys go into court and training them on how to do this stuff the right way. We're in boot camp learning how to go to war. This guy is saying you're not making a good argument. That'd be like, a drill sergeant is telling somebody to get in shape, making them do 100 push-ups, get their gun ready, and criticize how they do it wrong. Because a drill sergeant drill sergeants are harsh and critical because these kids are about to go off to war and could get killed. If they're not ready for boot camp and a drill sergeant correcting them on every wrong thing, and they do something wrong out in the field, they could get killed. He's preparing them for that. A coach makes you work harder, makes you run laps if you do something wrong, because you could get killed in a football game or destroyed. You can get hurt, or you can get creamed and lose. So this guy is whining and crying about me being harsh about the reality of guys not wanting to fight and sitting back and do nothing. He said, "You're not helping fathers right." So anyway, Jamar Joseph. I don't know, that name sounds familiar, but maybe he's one of the guys that got mad I didn't give him a free console. Okay, so another Jamar Joseph comment is on the video. I asked, "Do you see the answers in my videos?" Because I'm sitting here giving people answers, and all they're doing, some people are looking at like, "Yeah, you're right," and then they just start complaining about what their situation is. What are you doing on my page if you're just here complaining and making the comments? Like, I have answers I'm giving people, and all you want to do is whine and complain with me. And I realize 99% of you aren't going to fight for your kids because the fight is hard and you have to do certain things and you have to put forth effort and you don't want to do that. But I'm here for that 1%. That's why I get a lot of comments from these gay stalkers who are obsessed with proving me wrong in the comments. And they don't want to put that much energy into fighting for their kids. They'd rather go around and be keyboard warrior on somebody's page who's actually helped thousands of guys win. You don't want to get some of this information for yourself. You just want to comment and criticize me like a radical feminist. So you're on the other side. These guys are as bad as house slaves. So I'm sitting here helping guys win and try and get free from oppression by the court system and being slaves to the court system. These guys are sitting there saying, look at James's, they would, if they could, they'd go and, like, I don't know, tell some legal authority on me about what I'm doing, or, try and get me prosecuted for practicing law without a license. They'd snitch on me or whatever. I've already had a couple house slave sellouts who were men do that. And, I shut the Bar Association down. But he says, you just made a video about anti-complaining, yet this entire, and I do mean the entire video, is you complaining. So Jamar Joseph 89 is showing his thong. This is an argument that your baby mama or a crazy nagging wife would make. When I'm talking about people complaining, or I'm being anti-complaining, I'm talking about guys who don't want to fight and all they do is whine, cry, and complain. Okay? If you're just whining and crying and complaining and not doing anything in court, what the hell are you doing? And yeah, I got on a video and I ranted and complained about guys not taking the answers that I give and using them in fighting. That's not a contradiction. That's me saying stop complaining and idly doing nothing about your case. And I'm actually in here helping guys. I had a few consultations yesterday. Usually that was the day after a holiday. Usually a lot of people want to get all the consultations in on Monday, the beginning of the week, or Tuesday after a holiday, and then and not have a consultation the rest of the week. But I got a few consultations crammed in, and those guys are getting answers and they're getting help on what to do, and they're doing something about it. When I was in the consultation, I didn't whine and cry and complain. I corrected them on a couple things I felt they were doing wrong. But this guy is saying he thinks he's so illogical and he's so emotional with all this feminine energy that he thinks I'm being a hypocrite because I said, hey, stop complaining and do something on your case. And then I turn and he says that's a complaint of mine and I'm being hypocritical. I'm being critical of people complaining, and I'm telling them to get off their ass and stop doing nothing but complaining. And yeah, I'm complaining about guys complaining. But if a coach tells you to stop whining and crying and get to work and work in the off season, or do your homework if your grades are bad, or run the play, it doesn't matter if you're too tired, we're going to be tired in the game, stop complaining and get moving. He's complaining about their lack of effort. But that doesn't mean he's a hypocrite for complaining. He's the coach. He's telling them what to do. The fact that this idiot can't get that, and he's showing, see, guys like this with no self-awareness, this is a guy who's going to utterly fail in court, because he'll go in and say something stupid and contradictory and emotional and won't get some help or answers that are logical. And all he wants to do is just win every little argument on some petty little stupid drama queen bullcrap. Okay, so we got Sparky in Bozo. Now, some of you guys might not care for this video. Some of you guys might see, okay, yeah, this is what's wrong with the system. It's and you can see how this is prevalent. Guys who aren't doing, think about what a hater is. A hater is usually a critic who can't do what you're doing, and they feel all insecure or bad about themselves. So all they can do is complain. They don't want to get better and become, just watch any inspirational video where they talk about haters or people who are successful or moving on. They're always going to have critics who can't do what they do. That's what a hater is. You're jealous, you're mad, you can't do what's being done. So then all you can do is criticize people. Why do these people obsess with being on my page if they think I'm not helping anybody? And I am helping people. If you just look at the comments, there's a guy in a comment today. He was talking about, James is so great. I'm glad I used him. That was a guy who went to did his own trial for 4 days, and he's a painter. He doesn't work in a job where he's like a writer for a business or anything like that, or any kind of intellectual type of thing. He's a painter, and he did a 4-day trial by himself and schooled the mother's attorney. They were trying to take his time away, and they were trying to get like tens of thousands of dollars worth of attorney fees, and they weren't awarded, and he didn't have to pay that. Schooled them, and he got complimented on how well he did at trial. So the same moment that I have these haters complaining, basically I don't know what I'm talking about, I have somebody give a comment about how they appreciated me because they went through a 4-day trial with my help and schooled attorneys. And all these people complaining probably spent $10, $20, $50, $100,000 on attorneys. And you're sitting here hating on the guy who's helping people win. Why? Because you probably came to me and you felt entitled like a drama queen and your butt hurt because I said, sorry, I'm not going to do 2 or 3, 4 hours worth of consultations or read your materials that you emailed me and give you a bunch of free information. Sorry. I already have 400 videos on YouTube with free information. Now, some of it's ranting, but there's a lot of good stuff in here. I had a guy who said you don't offer anything of substance to guys or something. All you do is just criticize guys and get them boosted and motivated to fight. Go look at my videos. Like one of these videos this guy's criticizing me on is questions you should ask somebody in a deposition or a trial, an alienating parent. That's a question I get all the time. I just gave people a free answer, and he's criticizing me on that video. But let's go to Sparky in Bozo, xe9fn. He goes, I love that you cite APA articles, the Psychology magazine, American Psychiatric or Psychology Association. I love that you cite the psychologists as authorities to look at, but at the same time you call medications a scam. The cherry picking is real. So this guy is another illogical, moronic idiot. If the vast majority of lawyers are con artists, and you say lawyers suck, but there are a few good ones out there, that doesn't mean you're lying or being a hypocrite. So the vast majority of psychologists, when it comes to family court, get stuff wrong. I point out one article where a guy did a study on 50-50 custody versus single mother custody, and he said that kids do way better. And 110 psychologists signed off on it. So that was a good report. So I'm talking about when psychologists do good things. So this is my reunification therapy is BS video. And you can look under there. It's a highlighted comment by Sparky in Bozo. Sparky in Bozo or Sparky in Bozo. He is a bozo. So, Stuart Greenberg, a parenting evaluator in Seattle. If you Google Stuart Greenberg, S-T-U-A-R-T, Greenberg, B-E-R-G, I think. Seattle Times, there's an article, a psychologist who's a parenting evaluator used to secretly videotape women and children in his office bathroom, and he videotaped himself pleasing himself to those videos. And he got arrested for voyeurism. And then when he got out on bail, he killed himself. Now that guy is a sick, twisted, mentally ill weirdo. And there's a lot of weirdos like that in the psychology world and in family court. But when I find a little jewel of information that from a psychologist who's actually doing his job, yeah, I'm going to cite that. But I'll still say the majority of these guys are idiots. But then he jumped. I'm talking about an APA article that's in my flow page that Is it since the court likes studies? I mean, think about it. When you go to court, like the O.J. Simpson case, the the prosecutor had a blood sample specialist to match the blood samples they found around OJ's house, which they only found, the cops only found a couple days after OJ's blood samples was missing in the vial in the lab. So he took a blood sample a couple days, and there's blood missing in the lab, and then they find blood a couple days later at the property. They didn't find it when they first arrested him or first investigated the property. But OJ's side had their own blood specialist who said something is wrong about this whole thing. The prosecutor can have a forensic expert of some sort, and the defense team can have a forensic expert. You can, you can have a parenting evaluator on the case appointed by the court, and then you could have your own psychologist to counter their report. Because some psychologists are crazy, and some out there are decent ones. Any information that you could use to your side, you should use. And this guy thinks he's winning an argument by calling me a hypocrite. And he's not even pointing out the same topic. He says an APA journal article about 50-50 parenting plans, and then you say medications are a scam. Well, 50% of all big pharma drugs are recalled within 10 years. If you Google biggest recalls of big pharma or medications, there's all kind of medications that were put out there after they were tested, after they were approved by big pharma. You know, the Food and Drug Administration has people who work at their office, and then they go work for Pfizer or a big pharma company, or somebody from Pfizer goes and moves over to the Food and Drug Administration. So the Food and Drug Administration, 50% of their income or revenue comes from big pharma companies. That would be like drug dealers paying the cops to keep the community safe from drug dealers. That's the fox guard in the hen house. So there's all kinds of corruptions in the medical industry. That's a fact. And this guy's saying, oh, you're quoting one psychologist from one paper that talks about 50-50 parenting plans are better than single mother homes, but you say medication is a scam. First of all, those are two different topics. Second of all, I can say that, like you could say most used car salesmen are con artists and slick oil salesmen type of scum. But you might find a good salesman here and there who's honest and trying to make an honest living. We all know how corrupt family court attorneys are, and it's prevalent. But I've met 5 good family law attorneys in 23 years. Now, there's only 5 of them. So if I had to say the system is corrupt and this and that, and then I refer somebody to one of the rare attorneys, I'm not being hypocritical. I just found a good one out of the majorly corrupt system. You know, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X talked about a whole white supremacist power structure. They didn't hate all white people. And there were some good white people marching with them. Does that mean they're hypocrites? Oh, you're saying you can't stand white supremacists and white people, but they're marching. See, these guys, I don't understand how they. I guess when you're hiding behind a keyboard at your home and you're not fighting for your kids and you got nothing to do because you don't have kids in the home because you're a punk ass little bitch, and like these guys who didn't fight for their kids, you got time on your hands to go through my videos and criticize and win some brownie points with the father's rights movement groups that you go to, and you just sit there and you spoon and cuddle with them, and all you do is whine and cry about the system. Here's the short of what I do. I got full custody of my daughter without an attorney and won over and over in family court and destroyed attorneys and guardian ad litem's. And guys come around me and say, I can't do it. I can't do it. The system, it sucks. And I've helped thousands of other guys win. And I continually get guys who say, I can't. And I say, grow some balls and man up and fight. That's really it. And then after being inundated over and over and over again about guys whining and crying and pissing and moaning, sometimes I have to address it. Stop being a little cowardly bitch and grow some balls and fight. The system is not changing anytime soon. If you want to whine and cry, go somewhere else. I don't have time and energy for that. I spent the first few years of doing this trying to encourage people and come along like, yeah, you can do it. And all I did was drain myself because Anybody who feels sorry for themselves and then goes to a counselor or a friend, just think of somebody going through a tough time and all they want to do is talk about it all day long, and then you end up drained and they don't want to get help. Now, you could be there for a friend for a while, but if they're not going to get up and move on and get over it or fight their battles or whatever, or get some real help, all they're going to do is drain you and bring you down. So all these thong wearing, fruity gay boys who are stalking me, all they're trying to do is just bring me down. But I'm on here correcting their bullcrap. And usually when I do this, like the guys will delete their comments. I had a lady on here telling me to calm down, mother effer in your rage or whatever. And I said, I'm sitting here helping guys fight to rescue their kids from child abusers, and you're mad at me for being outraged about it. See, that was a woman with an emotional basket case reaction to my tone. And these guys are feminine males who don't like my tone or like what I'm doing, and I should be doing it according to their will. So here's Ryan Cox, big wannabe tough guy looking weirdo. And he says, so in my video, questions to ask an alienating parent at trial or deposition. If you're on a computer, or I think maybe even an iPad or a tablet, when you go on my YouTube channel, there's a magnifying glass above the main video. If you type in any topic, deposition, discovery, evidence rules, it'll show you all my videos. Or if you just go in the main bar of YouTube, you type in how I got custody and a word like deposition, 50/50 or whatever, you'll see all my videos on that. So you can look that way for this, and you just type in the word deposition. But here I go, questions to ask an alienating parent at trial or deposition. This is a question I get a lot of times. So I'm giving people some free insight at questions that I would ask, because people are always asking me, what should I ask at trial? What should I ask at a deposition? And here I go, and you can watch that for free. And hundreds of people, instead of me hiding that information and trying to make money on consults, if you got questions about if you don't know what to ask at a deposition or a trial, then get a consult with me. I could hustle you guys like that, but I give you valuable information for free in this video. And what does Ryan Cox 5097 say about that? You couldn't be bothered to sit down somewhere and focus. Or you just assumed that the world wanted to sit and listen to you fumble through your thoughts while you're distracted, drive through a metropolitan area. So this little fruity bee-made emotional basket, and B is the first letter of the female dog word. Fruity, a feminine weirdo, made sure that he highlighted his comment on here, and he thinks he's winning something. He comes on my page. I assume people who come on my page, they see something of interest. Oh, I'm losing in court. This sounds like an interesting video. So I give jewels of information here that 90% of people who are about to go to trial or deposition, I'll say, what do you want to ask the mother at the deposition or at trial? They have no idea. So here I am giving information, and this guy doesn't like the fact that I'm in my car giving valuable information. If I was in my car giving out money to people, this fruity little emotional basket case would be mad about that and wouldn't take money from me, because he'd want me to give money to him on a street corner or something. This guy cares more about the studio or the setting I'm in than what I'm actually saying. Why is this guy pissed that I'm in my car? If I'm in my car and the noise goes up and down and it's shaking, I'm still giving you information for free that would cost you hundreds or maybe $1,000 to talk to an attorney. You sit down and talk to an attorney. What are we going to ask? What are we going to prep at trial? $400 an hour. A few hours it takes you to, prep for trial over a couple of days, whether you have a 1-hour appointment. This guy's getting free information that's helpful to help guys rescue their kids and their life from, and improve their life from being destroyed by their baby's mom. And this guy is complaining about me sitting in my car and sharing that information. Or let's say not, I didn't hand out money. Let's say I'm telling you the directions to a buried treasure. This guy would be mad that I'm not sitting down and sitting perfectly still and telling you from some high-tech ESPN or CNN high-quality 4K studio. This is totally fruity gay, feminine, woman-like, coming from a man. And he had, I looked at his page. He's a drummer or something. He's bald-headed. He looks like he's a little bit buff, so he probably thinks he's a tough guy. But at heart, he has a fruity, feminine little sissy heart. He's on my page complaining when I'm sharing information. I don't like the studio that you're sitting in. And he's, oh, you couldn't just sit down and do it. First of all, you little punk-ass bitch. You're lucky I'm even have this page sharing this stuff with people. Second of all, I'm sharing this information, and the context of sharing, it's valuable information that people need. Why do you personally care? Why are you angry at me for not doing it in my home like I'm doing right now? Third of all, a lot of times I'm busy and running all day long, dealing with stuff in my life, dealing with clients, and then dealing with people texting and calling me all day. Hey, what do you do? How do I get in contact with you? How do I set up an appointment? And then I respond to them. I don't hear from them for a couple hours. I had 3 hours of sleep the other night. I had a consult set at 8 in the morning my time for somebody. And, I'm on sleep deficit. I set my alarm and I get up. The person's a no-show. I don't have an appointment again until like noon or something, but I couldn't get back to sleep. So I lost sleep. I'm on a sleep deficit. I'm messing with my health, sacrificing for people who are no-shows. And this punk-ass bitch is sitting there saying, I don't like you sitting in your car. So are you going to reject the information and not apply it and try and go rescue your life with your kid? So you're not going to fight for your kid because you don't like that I'm sitting in my car telling you how to fight for your kid? Again, if I'm in my car showing you a map or talking about the directions to find a treasure, or if I'm telling you from a high-tech studio, think about, why do you care? Why don't you just care about the treasure that I'm sharing with you and how to get it? Think about like the first Rocky movie when Apollo Creed, he's in this, or even like when Rocky 3 when he fought the Russian, the Dolph Lundgren character. The Russian has all this high-tech equipment. Rocky goes to a barn and he's walking through snow and he's doing this old school stuff. This little punk ass bitch, if that was a real life scenario, say, Rocky, why are you out here in the middle of freezing cold? Because he's being a tough guy. Because he doesn't care about all the flashing lights and all this other stuff. He's caring about building himself up and getting ready for a fight. So I'm helping people get ready for a fight, and I'm sitting in my car sometimes doing videos because I have a thought while I'm driving. I'm like, you know what? I care about my followers. I have a thought about what they can do, and let me share it while it's on my mind and fresh. This punk ass bitch doesn't like me doing that. This guy is a sellout to fathers and children and people who need this help because he's complaining that I'm not doing it the way that he wants me to from his little empty house where he doesn't have his kids or whatever his gay little world is, where he's complaining that he suffers and he's entitled to me doing it from some high-tech studio. This is my gender. This is what I deal with all the time. And so, every once in a while, now that it's more frequent, now I'm addressing some of this stuff. So hopefully when people look at this, they say, okay, that's really stupid to think that way. Like, why do I care whether James, talks from a car or from his home or from an office or has some fancy flashing lights or whatever? I care about the content and this golden information that has helped thousands of other guys win in court. My gender is so sickening. I just thought about, there's a case where I know a mother of a kid and the mother lost 3 of her 4 kids, and the dad of the 4th one has the easiest case in the world I've ever seen to get full custody. And when I was talking to that dad, I looked up the mother's record, found that she had a finding of child abuse in another case, found that she's allowing, a violent dude around that guy's kid. He has a great case for full custody. He was all excited to want to try and represent himself, and then he flaked out and didn't want to fight. Then he said, you know what, I'm going to get a lawyer. Then he flaked out. Then there's more evidence that that mom lets her child get molested by the boyfriend or other boyfriends. She's posting seductive pictures of her daughter online. And that dad still didn't want to fight. Now you might think, how the hell in the world would a dad not want to fight for a kid who's around an alcoholic and a drunk mother who passes out on her pills that she mixes with alcohol? Why would a dad not want to fight? And I wasn't trying to make the dad fight. I just informed him, and he's like, I got to get my kid out of there. And then he changed his mind when push came to shove, or when it came time when the rubber met the road, when it was time to actually do something. I got guys out here with a good case and a good argument for full custody, and they're struggling for years, and they fight and fight and fight, and they finally get to 50-50, or they finally get somewhere. This guy had the best chance I've ever seen of a guy getting full custody and rescuing his daughter from a possible child molester, from a violent, abusive mother. There was witnesses who saw the mother body slam this child, and there's a witness, or there's a paper trail somewhere where she, one of her older daughters, she got in a fist fight and was basically fighting her, and like a regular fight, like you'd see on World Star or something like that. Gave her daughter a concussion, bit her neck and tore some skin off. And the dad doesn't want to go rescue the kid. Now, he can do whatever he wants, but that's my gender for you. I got guys fighting and clawing for there's some clients I've had for 10 to 15 years, and they're still fighting because they just want to fight the fight. They've lost or they've won some. I had a guy who got 3 times he did contempt motions. Didn't get the mother found in contempt, but he got makeup time. Most guys try 1 contempt, and if they lose, they quit. This guy did 3 contempt motions. He got makeup time, didn't get found in contempt. The next 5 out of 6 contempt motions, he got the mother found in contempt. He got sanctions against her. Like the law minimum is like $250 or something like that. He got a monetary sanction, and he got makeup time. So he just kept at it and kept at it and kept at it. So I have guys who are total warriors like that, and they lose and lose, or they only gain a little bit and a little bit. And most of you guys would quit if you only gained a little bit or the first time. This is the type of mentality and attitude that people have to have. I'm just trying to see if there's a comment or question on here. No, okay. Or do I got to do this? Let's see. Live chat. Okay. I don't do live on YouTube very often, but there's dads going to war for their kids because their kids are worth it. And they're exhausted and tired, but it's their kids. You created kids in this world and brought them into this world. And you're not going to fight for them because the mother should have handed them over to you and you have an automatic right. Yeah, you're right. You have an automatic right. But you had kids with a psycho, and most of you knew she was psycho when you had kids with her, and you brought those kids into the world in a toxic situation. Go rescue them. See, I got little tolerance for excuses, whining, and crying. When I sit there and show people, here's my winning orders. This is what I did. Oh, I can't do that. Okay, then go away and leave me alone. And let me go help somebody who actually has some balls and actually cares about his kids. These guys are whining. Oh, I don't like you doing that from your car. Fruity little feminine punk A.B. And I've been dealing with this for like 23 years. These excuses and whining and crying, and it still happens. And these guys are so stupid. They will put their comments out there in public and look like a fruity gay stalker who's obsessed with me, but not obsessed with fighting for their kids. Little fruity, the Ryan Cox guy. This is Ryan Cox, COX 5097. Ryan Cox. This is what a prima donna little diva does. I mean, just think about like RuPaul or a show, or a cross-dresser or a drag queen. Look at how those dudes act like such divas. That's what this guy's acting like. He wants me to do my videos in a studio or something. Then there's one more. Oh, here goes. Let's see. I don't think I did Tony yet. So here goes Tony Tony-Tony-ui3vw. So on my video where I said, do you really want to fight or not? He said, oh, now you want people to ask questions. Just the other day, you threw a fit for someone asking you what you thought about something they wrote. Okay. So here's another emotional basket case, fruity feminine little diva. Tony might be this guy. There's a Tony who hit me up and said that I blocked him and all this other stuff because he was hounding me for 30 minutes, bombing me in text messages, sending me stuff for me to read. And I said, I'm not reading anything unless you have a consultation. And then he's complaining, so it's all about money? You don't care about fathers? All this prissy little drama queen stuff that only a narcissist, nagging wife would do. So Tony says, you want to ask questions. So I think this was a live where I invited people to ask questions and make comments. And he's saying, I'm complaining that people ask questions the other day. So when somebody gets in the comments, and I'm pretty clear about this, somebody gets in the comments and asks a question, and it takes like hours for me to answer. Like, how do I do a trial? They're showing they don't want to pay for a consult. They don't want to do what it takes to get the information. They're lazy and shiftless because they ask a vague general question that takes hours to answer. I'm not going to do that in the comments. It's impossible to answer a vague question or a question where you didn't get specific. Now, sometimes I'll answer it. If it looks like a quickie question, I'll answer. And then they'll have another detail that they didn't share with me in the original question, and that changes my answer. I'm not going to go back and forth and have a consultation in the comments. That's what the consultations are for. So Tony is saying, Tony-ui3vw, he's complaining that on a live video, I said people can ask questions. If I'm here and I find some free time to do a live video, people are welcome to ask me questions. If I can't answer it, I won't. So I'll invite them to answer questions because I'm here on my free time and I'm available and I'm making a video. That's not the same as somebody asking a question that takes hours and hours or a full consultation to answer. If somebody says, how do I figure out the right objections under the evidence rules? I have an evidence rule video that's an hour and 20 minutes long. You think I'm going to be able to answer a vague question like that in the comments? So not only is Tony being a hater and a drama queen and a gay stalker, he's extremely low IQ and unintelligent because he can't decipher the fact where I said, hey, I'm on here doing a video. You guys are welcome to ask questions. And the other day, I was ranting about people asking questions. It's clear that what I was talking about is when people ask questions that take me writing a book to answer. I'm not going to do that on YouTube. And the way that they answer questions, my main complaint is you don't want to fight. You want some quickie miracle answer. You don't want to put in some work. You're just passing by on YouTube and you're flippantly asking me a question. See, the guys who actually care about fighting for their kids have a sense of urgency. They see my videos like, I got to talk to this guy. I need a one-on-one help. I need some laser-like precision answers to my situation. But people who are stupid will just ask a quickie question or something that takes, they think it's a quick answer because it's a quick question, like, how do I get ready for trial? Most people that need to get ready for trial with me need at least 5 hours of consultations over the course of a couple weeks. Like, you can't really, one-time 5-hour consultation would be overwhelming and too much. Somebody asked a quick question, how do I get ready for trial? I got trial coming up in a month. Can I get ready? Yeah. And then they reply, and I say, yeah, you can. You can get a consult with me. Well, can you just tell me? No, I can't. That's the type of stuff that I got a problem with. And this Tony guy says, oh, you're going to answer questions on a live, but you won't answer questions in the comments. Ha ha ha, I got you, James. You're a hypocrite. Okay. How's your relationship with your kids? That's what this page is about. And you're sitting here thinking you caught me in a gotcha moment. Because I said people can, while I'm here, if you have a quickie question, I can answer it. I'll just answer it because I'm sitting right here with some rare free time. And then when people more often than not, when people make comments or ask a question in the comments on the YouTube channel, They never engaged with me. They never got an appointment. Also, if I'm on a live and you ask a question, I can answer it faster verbally than typing it out. Duh. This stupid, idiotic Tony moron thinks that answering questions on a live is just as hard as answering questions in writing in the comments on YouTube with somebody who doesn't, somebody ask me a question, I could say, well, what does that really mean, or what are you talking about? And then I can give them a quick, thorough answer. But I can't with the way people do it on the comments here. So anyway, I just wanted to address these 4 gay stalking haters and their feminine energy and how they're drama queens and they're, the typical, you know, modern father or modern male who's feminized, and they're reacting out of their emotional feminine feelings. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to be outraged. It's okay that this stuff is depressing. I'm not saying don't ever have those feelings. But why are you on my page hating and I'm helping people win? Nobody's ever had a good critique of me when they come in and say, "Ah, you said this and you said that, ha." And even if I make a mistake or did or said something wrong, the overall thing is that I'm helping people. Let's say you're a doctor and you're really trying to help people get healthy, and you're not following big pharma. This guy complained about me complaining about big pharma. Big pharma owns medical schools. They give millions of dollars. I had a client who had a wife who was a big pharma saleswoman. He knows that their major job was to wine and dine doctors and heads of medicine at the universities to get them to buy their meds or teach people use this medicine for this disease, so big pharma could make $50 billion a quarter. I mean, Pfizer made $50 billion a quarter when they were selling the jab, and now we're seeing the repercussions of how unhealthy that thing was. When there was the information was out there ahead of time how unhealthy it was, but everybody got bamboozled because everybody's little sheep. It's crazy how I talk to such a diverse. This is one thing that's really cool about what I do. I talk to a diverse group of people. I talk to people in the military, and I ask them, what's it really like in Iran or Afghanistan when you're out there? And I get some insight from boots on the ground, literally, and not politicians. It's a whole different world. Like, guys said that, we could have got out of Iraq within the first few months, and we shouldn't even been there after that. And I hear stuff like that. Or I hear from a guy like this guy who has insight into big pharma and how they really operate. They're just a bunch of hustling salesmen who get people, wine and dine people, take them to ball games, take them to big events, operas, or this and that. And then say, hey, why don't you sign this contract so you'll buy our stuff or hand our stuff out at your practice. Let's say a doctor doesn't do that, and he gives people alternative medicine, or when they do need certain meds, because not 100% of medicines are bad. There's a couple of them that are pretty good, like the painkillers when you get drilled, your teeth drilled. That's a good medicine, right? But overall, big pharma is a hustler and a scam. But let's say there's a doctor who's helping people out, and then he gives somebody some bad advice because his information was off or he made a mistake. Does that mean that doctor is totally evil when he's out there helping people in most of the time? Or if a coach is coaching kids really well and he has an overall really successful winning percentage, and then he makes a bad call in a game that costs him the game, do you condemn the guy for that? So these people want to condemn me for something that they said in these comments. But all 4 of them, their comments are stupid, ignorant, and emotional, and they're lying or they're making up. What's crazy, they're acting like a good corrupt, a corrupt family law attorney making really aggressive arguments. And that's them doing their job. So that's why I said like a good family law attorney as far as being a pit bull. So they're coming in here with these specious little complaints and thinking they're winning some points with somebody. Or, what are you winning? Like, let's say you all are right. What do you want me to do about it now? What do you want me to do about it? Okay, so that Ryan Cox gay boy, he says, I don't like you sitting in your car doing videos. What do you want me to do about it? Why don't you just go to the other pages where they have a fancy office or a father's rights movement meeting. They got a big following and stuff like that. Or why don't you go to the other guys that are giving people? Why don't you go to Judge Anthony Brown, who sits in his house and does videos and charges $600 an hour? 7 times 8 is 56. He charges over 7.5 times as much as I do for an hour. Why don't you go to him or go to any of the other fathers' rights guys who are help? Oh wait, there is nobody else out there. It's me and Judge Anthony, as far as I know, and he's 7 times as much as me. And I have as many testimonials as he has, even though he has 1 million followers. This is why I can't have hope for things changing. I can't have hope for a bunch of guys getting their stuff together and doing what's right. I would go crazy hoping that a bunch of guys would start doing stuff and the system would be overturned. Literally, if guys, I don't know, if 10% of guys in custody battles, there's like 1 million divorce cases every year, I think. So if 100,000 people across the country fought the way that I fought and Winnie guys fought and took their case to trial, we'd overturn the system. But guys are scared and they're emotional and they're crybabies. And and uh, and they want to spend a lot of time and energy pursuing me on my videos and criticizing me, and they don't want to spend energy fighting for their kids. Okay, so some lady named Molly said, "What is this channel about?" Well, I have a main video. If you click the wherever the icon is and go to the main video, I have an intro to it. I got full custody of my daughter without an attorney. I've helped thousands of fathers and some mothers go to court and fight without an attorney, put on their own trials for 2, 3, 4, 5 days, and the judge and the judge's bailiff or clerks say, "Did you go to law school, or how did you learn all this stuff?" And I've helped over for 23 years since I got full custody and destroyed multiple attorneys, multiple guardian ad litems, school judges, one in the Court of Appeals. This channel is all about sharing with people everything that I know and everything that I did to win in court. Right now I have over 400 free videos on this channel, and a lot of them, some of them are rants about guys growing some balls and actually manning up and fighting, while they're mostly whining and crying and pissing and moaning. "I can't do it. I've been through 5 attorneys. I got to find a good one." They just found out the attorneys aren't going to help them, and they don't want to fight. And so they're their only hope for their kids. So I'm trying to tell dads, particularly, fight for your kids. You're your kid's only hope. You know your case better than your attorney does. You can save, even if you go to court and lose, you'll save $100,000 or $40,000 by going to court on your own. That's one benefit right there for starters. So if you went to court and lost, you would save yourself tens of thousands of dollars. And most of you are going to court and losing with attorneys. You could at least eliminate that part. "Oh, I'm scared, and I'm scared of being scared, and I'm scaredy cat. Okay, aren't you scared of losing another $10,000, $20,000? Then go to court and just show up in court. Or you could actually learn what I learned and apply it and give yourself a chance to win or get on the offensive." So the fact that I even have one hater hating on what I'm doing, the whole world is saying, "Dad, step up to the plate. Dad's get involved." And here I am telling the truth, that most uninvolved dads, or most deadbeats, or most dads that don't see their kids, were pushed out by the mother. And every single, other than Judge Anthony, every single other video channel, whatever, is just complaining about that and doing nothing. I'm sitting there helping guys win. I've stopped counting at 300, the number of guys I helped get full custody without a lawyer. And I got people hating on me. And the people hating on me are dads, for the most part, who lost in court, who are mad that I didn't give them a free consult, who are mad the way that I talk in the videos. Isn't that the most fruity, feminine, sissy, cowardly, punk-ass, bitch-made bullcrap? "I don't like your tone." Go to a different channel. What are you even doing on my channel? And then people are going out of the way to argue with me, and some of them are arguing and arguing. And then when I do videos like this, they don't have anything else to say. They'd rather fight me more than they want to fight for their own kid. And it's hard and it's ugly and it sucks and it can be depressing and overwhelming. But if you get on the offensive and go to war, that's therapeutic in and of itself. Just think if you're just laying down and getting stomped on and you're a doormat and you're getting walked over and you're just laying there feeling sorry for yourself and you're exerting no energy to fight back. All you can do is wallow in your pity and wallow in your losses. But if you get on the offensive and you're going to war, like I had no sign for the 7 months of my custody battle that the mother wanted to settle or work stuff out or there was any end to it. But all I knew is that I had to keep fighting. Just like if you go on a weight loss journey, you kind of have to make up your mind. Like I've been up and down with my weight. And the best time where I lost the best weight and got in the best shape, I had to make up my mind. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go. I'm just going to follow the routine. No matter how it feels, no matter how it sucks, whether it's good weather or bad weather, I'm going to get out of the house. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to go for a walk. This is my day. This is my daily routine. And I did it almost every day. And I wanted to do it every day. So the days I failed or I couldn't do it, that there'd be more successful days and failure days. So after a few months, I was getting in good shape and feeling good and stuff like that. But I had to made up. You have to change your mentality. You can't say, "Oh, this sucks," or that I could have said, "Oh, being fat sucks," and having to work out is too hard. I could have made all those excuses and stuff, and not got in shape and not felt better. Okay, but I had to make up my mind that I'm going to do this, and then the results came, and I didn't even focus on the results. I focused on let me focus on I'm going to decide this is going to be my routine. Some of you guys got to decide it's going to be my routine to look up case law, to look up the law, to do something on my case, to look up some studies that help support full custody for a dad or 50-50. And a lot of that stuff and those tools I have on my flow page that I'm giving people for free. I tell people in a lot of my videos, go look at my flow page. There's free information. There's a section that says must see information. And I won in court. And people are too stupid to even go look at that free information. If you're fighting for your kids and there's information out there to help you win, why wouldn't you go look at that information when it's free? That's why these haters are stupid, because they're not even looking at the free information for themselves. They're complaining that I don't have some high-tech 4K video, or they're complaining, oh, in the last video said this. Why are you watching all my videos to critique me and to pick me apart like a defense attorney? Why don't you practice getting ready for your trial to pick the mother apart in your case? Why not? Because you're a fruity little thong-wearing gay boy diva who has no self-awareness of how stupid you look, and you're going to post and then highlight a comment thinking, I got you, James. Let's say you actually had a logical argument and you caught me in a mistake or whatever. Let's say you did that, and nobody has so far because there are all these fruity little feminine gay comments, right? Let's say that you actually did that. I'm still out here helping guys win. You're still losing in your court case and not fighting for your kid. What's going on? What are you doing? What are you accomplishing? What's the point? There is none. You're an emotionally dominated, estrogen-filled, man-breast, fruity little feminine drama queen. And that's why you're losing in court. So, there's an answer for my haters. Guys, don't be a hater. Take the information that I got and use it. And if you don't want to get a consult and pay for it, I'm not mad at you. Now, I do have some videos like, why wouldn't you get a consult? Because people are taking the time out in comments to say, the system sucks and this and that, and I tried this and I tried that. But you didn't try everything that you could try, and you think complaining is going to fix it. Here's one thing that is really here's one thing that is really stupid. People get on my page, I know 100 times more than you, and you say, oh, I already tried what you said. And now you quit? There's always something more to try. If you're in an open case, and I guarantee every single one of you who haven't got a consult with me, there's something you haven't done and you haven't tried. You should exhaust every possible remedy that's available to you in the fight for your life with your kids. If your kids get kidnapped by a total stranger and you follow this lead and that lead and you look for surveillance video and you're like, man, I already tried those things. But you didn't try, tracking device, or you didn't try surveillance video at the kids, like let's say you guys were at 7-Eleven or something, and the favorite park that you like to play at is down the road. You didn't go get the surveillance video over there. You didn't try this. You would try everything that you could, and when you didn't find your kids, you would try something else. But when it comes to family court, we try once and we get traumatized and it hurts our sissy little feelings and we got to get back to work and we got to go watch the ball game and it's interfering with our fun time with the guys. So we turn into little diva bitches. And there's a war. Your baby's mom declared war on you with your kid. You have to treat it like a war. All else is secondary. You go to work, you eat food, and you fight for your kids. That's it. That's your life. Just like with the analogy of getting in shape. I had to cut out some distractions. I couldn't stay up late or go hang out or do what I wanted to do. I had to get it in every day that I could. And the results came. You got to make up your mind. I'm going to focus on this and do this, and I'm not going to worry about the results. I'm going to focus. And so when I kept at it and kept at it for 7 months, all I knew is I'm going to fight for my kid. I'm going to fight for my kid for 18 years if I still don't get any visitation. I kept at it. I went from 0 visitation to 5 days a week. Then I got the mother found in contempt. And then I kept at it, and then we were doing discovery. And at some point, the mother broke, and she quit, and she surrendered. And that's how guys usually win this stuff. And there's guys out there, they don't even want to try. Usain Bolt, the world record holder in the 100 meters, I don't know if he still is, but he was for a while. The fastest man in the history of the world said, I trained 4 years for 9 seconds. He trains 4 years to run in the Olympics for 9 seconds. And other people give up after a couple months. Think about that. You're fighting for, you have a year to fight and take your case and get ready for trial for a judge to dictate whether your case gets modified, whether a restraining order gets dropped, whether you get custody or 50-50. I went to war with my baby's mom for 7 months. If I would have known the information that I give you guys, if I would have known all this information back then in 2001, my 7-month battle wouldn't have lasted more than 3 months. What I took to fight a restraining order and to go for a motion for a temporary order and then appeal from a family law commissioner to a judge. And, I would, when I got 5 days a week, it was only 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, but the mother lived close by. It was probably better that I got that than every other weekend for overnights because my daughter consistently saw me almost every day. To get that order, that took 2.5 months. I would have that in a couple weeks. And my contempt motion, I had a hearing set and I had to bump it like a couple months because the mother, and it took me a while to figure out how to reset it and start over and do it again. I would have that stuff knocked out in a couple months and maybe had my case over in a few months. And I'm somebody who won and destroyed my baby's mom's attorney, my baby's mom, the first GL, the second GL, the substitute attorneys. There was like 4 or 5 attorneys I had to go up against. I won in the Court of Appeals. I was dragged in court in and out. For 20 years, I was falsely accused of being a monster, dangerous to women and children after I got full custody. And the mother never tried to modify, and she's coming to court saying I'm a monster. I still don't talk to the lady. I haven't talked to her in 23 years, except for a short period, about 1 week or 10 days. We were trying to get along, and then it didn't work out. So I got my daughter. And the fact that I got any hater in any comment anywhere, I got full custody of my daughter. A white man with a biracial daughter. I got her at age 7 months and I raised her. And she still lives with me at age 22. And there's actually haters in the comments. How? How? Because I said this one little contradiction from one video to another? Haters in the comments. I'm helping other guys. There's guys who've made comments like, this guy saved me in my divorce. And I didn't save anybody. I empowered them to go save themselves. But I have people commenting, I got 50-50, I got custody, I got this, in the comments all throughout my YouTube channel. And there's haters in here hating on me. All you're showing is what a pussy you are because you don't like the way that I'm saying and doing stuff that works for thousands of other guys, and you're not going to do it, and you're not going to apply because you're a pussy little diva like Ryan Cox, who says you're talking in your car. Why didn't you do it at home? You couldn't take the time out to do it at home. No, because that was my free time in my car. I'm seizing the opportunity of traveling from one, like when I get up in the morning, I'm going 12 hours with this stuff, sometimes without an appointment. And I got personal stuff to do. I'll have a 12-hour day and I'll look up, it's 10 o'clock at night, and I got up at 8 or 9 or something, and I went 12 hours and maybe had a couple appointments here and there. And I'm going back and forth with people. Oh, I got a quickie question. What is it? Uh, you know, it's just a quick question. Well, okay, if it's a quick question, then you could ask it right here, and I can give you a quick answer. And they ask something really long, like, I'm doing a contempt motion, and the mother has an attorney. How do I combat their defense and do the strict reply, which is due in a couple days? That takes a full consultation. And then I tell them that takes a full consultation. It's like, why do I have to get a consultation? Like, I just, it's just a quickie question. And then they want to start arguing with me. I'm like, look, man, it's going to take an hour or hours to answer your question and get you ready for that. And people want a quickie answer because they're lazy, shiftless, bum ass pussies who don't want to fight for their kids. They want a quickie answer and wave a magic wand. That's not how that works. And then so I got to tell them, every once in a while, some guys, it'll be a misunderstanding or whatever. They'll say, okay, fine, I'll get a consultation. They get a consultation. I'm like, I'm glad I talked to you. So a lot of times I'm doing that all day. And this little diva, Ryan Cox, said he's mad that I was talking in my car. And that day, I probably was doing appointments and work. And then there's sometimes when I'm doing contract paralegal work, doing some papers or whatever. And then I'm doing something for my daughter because she's still dependent on me for certain things. I'm running all day with stuff that I have to do for other people. And this bitch is crying that I had a moment in my car while I was in transit going somewhere and like, let me take this opportunity to give some free information to some people. And he didn't like it because of where I was giving it from. This is why there's no hope for any father's rights movement. Every father's rights movement group, the father's rights movement that was in Washington, was headed by, there's this, I think he's a Filipino guy, and he was on Facebook about 2010. It was the first father's rights movement group in the area. He was talking about, oh, there's a wave and there's this momentum of all this stuff. I could tell it's going to change. I said, dude, nothing's changing. It's been 40 years and people come and go like you and talk about this stuff. What are you actually doing about it? Oh, well, we're meeting with legislators. And he has all these photo ops where he's standing there shaking the hand and smiling like, look at me. I'm with a legislator. And they're going from politician to politician and shaking hands and doing a photo op. We had this talk today. We had this meeting. Doing absolutely nothing. He's not getting custody. He's losing in his case. All his followers are losing in their cases. And they're waiting and hoping for some legislation to come along that will change stuff when the laws are already good. Best interest of the child, that's a great law. Go in and prove what's the best interest of the child and try and win in court. The problem is the court is biased and thinks the best interest of the child is to be with the mother, but it doesn't say that in law. But you and your lawyer won't stand up to the judge's perception because you don't want to criticize the judge, which is your job in court, to criticize the judge if they make a wrong ruling or to tell them. I just had a guy today saying the lawyers say we can't go to that court because we're from a different county and they're biased against us. How is that even possible? Go in and fight the judge and the judge's bias. Or, you know, you can't appeal a decision from a magistrate to a judge because you'll lose. Go in there and try. 90% of all the stuff that fails in court, or maybe 100%, all the stuff that fails in court or attorneys aren't trying because they've never tried before. Why did you become an attorney if you're not going to try? Why did you become an attorney if you're just going to roll with the system and say, well, this is the way the system is? Didn't you become an attorney to fight stuff and to argue? The whole nature and the wording that we use in court is to fight, oral argument, prevailing party, impeaching a witness, interrogating somebody. It's all aggressive, getting on the offensive and fighting. And the attorney wants to do everything but fight. That's insane. And you won't light a fire under your attorney. I had a guy I talked to today. He tried to light a fire under his attorney, and he's like, I need you to do this, I need you to do that. And the attorney was complaining about her office being harassed by him. But it was that this guy had some balls to stand up to his attorney and say, look, you're not doing your job. I need you to get on the offensive and do more for me. which is the attorney's job and is their oath and is the rules of professional conduct. And the attorney's such a thin-skinned little sissy lady, and she's used to, see, attorneys are used to telling their clients, hey, just trust me. Just trust me in blind faith. I'm going to do this the right way. Just sit back and be quiet and leave me alone. Let me go to work. And while that's going on, the attorney's doing nothing. They're getting around to that client when they feel like getting around to it. And you say, hey, look, I need some information. I need you to get back to me. I need to know what the strategy is. I want to do this strategy. And the attorney says, I'm a victim of harassment. At $400 an hour, that you're a victim because you're supposed to aggressively, zealously advocate for your client and you're not doing it and they're getting on your case. If a landscaper is half-assing and taking too many smoke breaks and not cutting my grass and edging it and pruning the rose bush and all that stuff, I'm going to get on their case because I'm paying them. See, it's insane how much of a victim these attorneys turn out to be. You go into court and you say, this attorney's violating Civil Rule 11. They're helping a client commit perjury. They're committing malpractice. And the attorney goes, how dare he say that about me? They're such a bunch of thin skin. And you're in there, the attorney's crucifying you and lying about you and trying to destroy your life with your kid. And you go in there and critique them for actually lying and helping the client commit perjury, abusing the system, and they get their panties in a bunch. Isn't that insane? But what you do about that is you keep hammering away. But sometimes you turn into a little sissy punk, or your attorney's a little bitch-made coward, and they won't criticize the other attorney because it's taboo, because they're all in the same club and they're all part of the same team, because they all go to the same bar association cocktail parties, and they don't want to offend their buddy. Their allegiance is to you. I've seen people make comments and say, well, their allegiance is to the bar. They're part of the bar, and there's peer pressure with the bar, but the rules of professional conduct talk about diligence and communicating with you and competence. And attorneys always advertise that they're going to zealously, aggressively advocate for you. So they'd already put it out there. That's what they're going to do. So that's part of their contract because they put it out there. Light a fire under your attorney. If you're dumb enough to keep an attorney, light a fire under them and make them do their job. They say, well, we can't win, or that judge you likely won't. Well, go in there and fight the unlikely, you cowardly bitch. Go in there and, the New York Giants showed up for the Super Bowl when the Patriots had Randy Moss and they were 16-0 and undefeated. And Randy Moss set a wide receiver record. Tom Brady set a quarterback record for TDs. It was like maybe the best team ever leading up into that game. And the Giants still showed up. They didn't quit. If the New York Giants had the mentality of your attorneys, they would have forfeited and been a bitch-made coward like your attorney. But the Giants showed up. They were like 10-6 that year, I think, or something. They shouldn't even been on the field as far as everybody's concerned. And they beat the mighty Patriots that day. It was David versus Goliath. David defeated Goliath no matter what. See, I really should do a video and point out a lot of the stuff I'm talking about. The Mel Gibson movie, having a brain fart right now. Braveheart. There's a lot of principles in there. Mel Gibson was fighting and winning. And he's saying the way that we fight is by fighting. And the aristocrats that were in Scotland wanted to negotiate with Great Britain's king. And they said, we'll give you lands and this and that if you let us take over without a fight. They're like, let's not fight. Let's not get killed. Let's not get hurt. Let's give them what they want. They were appeasing them. And Mel Gibson was like, don't you want to be free? He's like, for crying out loud, for God's sakes, fight, grow some balls. He's like, we can win. We've been winning these battles with just a few people. If all you guys got together, got off your ass, and we fought. That's like me talking to the Father's Rights Movement folks. Come on, let's go fight our cases. Let's get on the offensive. Let's go protest judges in their neighborhood and call them out. Let's go to the courthouse and tell everybody this judge gave custody to this mom who lives with a pedophile, and call them out and embarrass them. But see, all these judges act in silence and that's one complaint people have. Everything's done in the dark and in silent. Go outside with a picket sign with a case number and say, Judge so-and-so, who lives at this address, who has this birthday and has this driver's license number, like I do in some of my videos and some of my protest signs, is a man-hating, misogynist. Like one judge, I said, she's a psycho witch man-hater who places children with child abusers. I put the case number there, and I've been wanting to go to her home. I'm trying to figure out which house she lives at because the data shows like a few different houses. I've been to my judge's home, talking to his neighbors, having a sign saying, my judge hates biracial children. And then I called him a child molester on the other side of my picket sign. Judge James Edwin Rogers, who lives up in the U District in Seattle, outside his house, walking up and down the street with my sign. Some of his neighbors like, what the hell are you doing out here? It's a holiday or it's this and that, and this is a family environment. I said, I wouldn't be out here if my judge didn't throw me in jail for no good reason. You want to hear about it? And they listen to me for 20 minutes an hour. And so now all of his neighbors know I disturbed his bubble. So maybe he's making some better rulings. Sometimes when I protest at the courthouse like this, judges have changed their rulings and been more favorable to men. All the other fathers' rights movement groups go out and say, honk if you like dads. Dads are people too. Family court hurts children and fathers. All these vague stuff, not precise strikes about this judge and embarrassing them, so that when they walk into court and everybody in the courthouse looking at them crazy, like, you really gave custody to a mom with a pedophile boyfriend? What the hell is wrong with you? Embarrass them and disturb their bubble instead of sitting back passively and then spend 5 years in the legislature, 5 years in a row, trying to pass laws that will never get passed and never change. Anyway, you can see my frustration. I'm a 5-star general in this war on fathers. And I'm the only one out here doing this. Even Judge Anthony, all he does is just make $600 an hour. You know, I saw Judge Anthony. If you go to his YouTube page, I watched one of his videos. He was a judge for 5 years, and he's out here helping dads. And he's sitting there saying that he didn't know how devastating divorce was until he went through it, and then he quit as a judge. So he wasn't helping dads at all. He was part of the system doing the same thing. And now he's making money doing what he's doing. But you'd think as a judge, he'd have street cred and go back and say, hey, the system needs to change. He's not doing that. He's just making money off of people. And I'm sitting here protesting. Why doesn't he have the balls to do it? Probably because he's too sophisticated because he used to be a judge. Or he's got friends in the system or whatever. So anyway, that's enough for today. I thought I'd just address the haters, throw some few things in there so you guys can know where I'm coming from. And I've been dealing. You guys can't handle your one case. I deal with talking to people 3 to 10 cases a day, maybe a couple consults on average a day. This stuff is draining to deal with, and I'm still here after 23 years. All the fathers' rights movement guys that I started talking about, they're all gone. They did it for a year or two. They got drained and burnt out, and they moved on with their life. They're all a bunch of punk-ass bitches. They're a bunch of guys who lost in court, put a fathers' rights movement together, kiss butt of legislators, don't want to criticize anybody because they're trying to win the legislators over. And they get burnt out and they leave. And the next group of sissy little simps and wimps and crybabies come in and they're, oh, we're going to change the system. I can really feel it. And they're saying the same exact thing that all the other guys said for the previous 40 to 50, 60 years when nothing got accomplished. So take it or leave it. Here's who I am. Here's what I do. You want to learn how to win and fight and give yourself the best chance to get something fair? Get a consult with me. You want to be a critic and a little punk-ass bitch like these 4 little fruity gay boys who are stalking me and, I got you, James. I saw a contradiction right here. They go to the enemy side and be a traitor sellout. Be a house slave. Be like, I don't know, George Soros who's Jewish and bought up and flipped houses of Jewish folks that were sent off to concentration camps. He's like, well, somebody had to do it. Sellouts. That's my gender. So I'm looking for you 1%ers who actually want to fight. You want to come over to the winning side? Let's go.